I think we'll get started. Thank you for coming. I'm Alex MacLeod. I run commercial initiatives for the healthcare product team, and I'm joined by Mark, who is our principal technology architect, and Regilo, who is a little shy, so he's sitting down there. Or I may have taken up the last chair, so he went down there to sit. But Regilo is the product owner for our cloud initiatives in healthcare. So we'll take you through what the Health Connect cloud offering is. I think it's pretty straightforward for people who are already familiar with Health Connect. Actually, how many people here run Health Connect right now? On-prem or somewhere else? Actually, not that many. Ensemble or HealthShare Foundation, any of the prior incarnations? Okay, all right. So what you'll learn today is what is the cloud Health Connect cloud offering, and kind of how does it differ from when you deploy on-prem? What do we take care of, and what are you responsible for when you're going down this route? And then how does it kind of fit with our other services, right? And then we'll have some time for Q&A. We'll do a demo, hopefully, Regilo, if you're, if you're ready for the limelight. But basically, we've kind of been focusing in general, and I'm just going to set the scene a little bit before I get into Health Connect Cloud in particular. But we've been focusing on how can we make it faster for people to get to value, right? Because if you buy any type of software technology, you have to, honestly, the longest it takes us is to provision the hardware. Has the customer bought the hardware yet? Do we have network access? All that stuff kind of takes a long time. And then you have a learning curve. You need to learn the product and how to, operationally manage it. And all of that takes time, which nobody has any time for anymore. So we've really focused in general about putting out more as a service offerings that kind of get you there quickly and let you focus on what you're the experts in and let us do the rest. So we have different kind of layers of offerings that fall under this, and then I'll kind of slot in Health Connect Cloud into this block diagram. But at the bottom is kind of the cloud platform. So this is our partnerships with the cloud. We have a full team that kind of just manages these relationships and looks at which cloud vendors are we partnering with. What do we need to do in product to make the products run more natively in the cloud, take advantage of containers, Kubernetes, and everything else that the cloud has to offer. And then on top of that, we layer the offerings, right? And those can range from platform as a service, where you kind of own the application layer and we handle the infrastructure and the platform, to software as a service, where we kind of give you a piece of functionality, almost like a black box. You send something in, you get something out, or you get access to a specific piece of functionality from our overall product set. But there's more of a management perspective from us for the application side in that. So Health Connect Cloud really falls under the PaaS layer. So the idea is we deploy an AWS tenant. We take care of everything infrastructure and platform related. So we handle failover, high availability, backups, anything provisioning more CPUs, storage, all of that you don't have to worry about anymore, and you focus on implementing interfaces. For those that aren't familiar with Health Connect or any of the prior incarnations of the product, it's really an interface engine or service bus where you take messages in through a variety of formats, you transform them, you do content-based routing, and you send them on to downstream systems. That's a very, layman's term description of it. And that's what you would do in this model, right? We do optionally offer professional services to do interfaces for you. Often when people move off of a legacy interface engine or they move from an on-premise deployment to a cloud deployment, they tell us, well, we have like 3 months to convert these 200 interfaces. Can you help us? So we'll offer that too. But longer term, we really envision you to own the application layer and own the interfaces, monitor them, maintain them, create new interfaces. So even when we do the implementation, we kind of teach you how to fish so that you can do it yourself going forward, right? But anything that's not interface related, we kind of take care of, and you don't have to worry about it. The Health Connect functionality that you get is the same that you get as like when you deploy on-premise, right? So you really have the two options. One is not better than the other. We're not, replacing all on-premise deployments. That's not where you guys are at. So customers will just choose either to go on-premise or to move to the cloud. We see a lot of customers moving to the cloud with other applications, and in the process, just moving the interface engine to the cloud as well. So if you have a migration, we'll help you, we'll assist you. AWS has been a great partner and assists us in the process too. But you can stay on-prem if you want to. You're not losing anything if you want to run in the cloud, though. A lot of people just don't want to invest in the infrastructure or the resources to handle the infrastructure anymore, right? So that's where we come in. We, by default, have a more cloud-native licensing model for this, where you pay by usage, basically, right? So if you have a ton of messages coming in one day or 1 month, we scale up and we price you based on that. And if you have some quieter days, months, weeks, then we scale down and we charge you less. Some people like that because you're only really being charged for what you're consuming. Others, like we see particular regions that don't like the unpredictability, right? They want something more predictable. So we can do a different model where you're signing up for a 3-year term and you have a predictable monthly charge based on what we know about your ecosystem, the amount of messages you process, the amount of messages you want to store. So those are kind of the 2 pricing models that we can do. I'll let Mark talk about the infrastructure a little bit. Regilo, we have 2 chairs up here now. You really got to join us.
Hi.
He is a man of the people.
So, hope you can hear me okay. So what we've deployed is more of you're getting the best practices or recommended deployment model from what we would recommend for anyone that would deploy on-prem. So we have best practices for high availability with the mirror set split between availability zones. We have network isolation for egress control. And then we also have what we call our MAM service, which is more for Regilo's team to provide the system operations. So it's all the monitoring operations and their access into your dedicated VPC deployment. Each customer will have up to 3, maybe more, it's negotiable, but the standard is 3. So you'll have a dev test and prod type deployment. High availability is provided for production. The access control, so currently we integrate with Cognito through Amazon with plans, correct me if I'm wrong, is AD coming up for your organization's AD integration as well. But currently that's where we're at today. File access, 2 different load balancers, and the reason for that is one is more for the system management portal to come in through 2 proper web servers and web gateways, and the other one, the network load balancer, is more for your traditional TCP based, HL7 interfaces or whatnot. So there's 2 different functions between them. Let's see what else we got. There is shared file storage as well. And like I said, we have best practices between the 2 different subnets or 2 different mirror pairs. So that way it's split between 2 different availability zones. We got a next slide. Oh, sorry. And then, so we're in 3 phases. We're currently in, I'd say we're beyond phase 1 into phase 2. So currently we are GA in the US and UK currently as of March of this year. When we say it's a bring your own license, it's still a traditional sales model where we're not available yet in the marketplace. So there's still a high touch type model for engaging in this service. And deployment is currently, this is where I'm saying we're kind of in phase 2. You can do the deployment yourself. We would give you credentials to the portal and you can deploy it, or we can deploy it for you on your behalf. Connectivity is where it gets interesting, especially for TCP-based sockets. So anything that's not REST-based or SOAP-based that would be using HTTPS, we will establish and provide for you in what's called the Network Connect service, where we would establish the VPN gateway service. We can have also alternatives, AWS Direct Connect, or other third-party, like in the UK, the HSCN network, for example. That would be instantiated, but then it would be up to you for the responsibility for establishing the VPN gateways to your data provider. So any of your third-party or external data sources, the connectivity would be established by them. So we're not reaching out to them to make connectivity, they're reaching into the service. So that way it's more of a control on their side, kind of an opt-in versus opt-out type model. So like I said, phase 1, phase 2, we're kind of in phase 2 right now. Phase 3 is we're moving more to a fully automated leveraging Kubernetes. Currently, deployment is not Kubernetes-based, but it will be going at some point. And there will be the system management portal will be its own dedicated UI at some point. But currently, the access you have today is based on a stripped down, well, I don't say stripped down, it's more of a security role restricted access to what you have. Basically, it's the interoperability and I think Explorer.
The Explorer to run some SQL queries.
It's the SQL queries. They're pretty much the only access panels you have to. So system administration, security settings, you will not have access to that. We would control all of that for you. So again, adhering to our best practices, standards, monitoring, and ensuring the SLA of the platform, we want to take and own and control of that because we're providing that service, and that way no one's shooting themselves in the foot by changing something outside of our control.
Now, if you're outside the US or the UK, it's relatively easy for us to make it available in another region. There's typically two questions we ask. One is, do you have an Amazon availability zone in your region? Right. If you don't, is it fine to have the data live somewhere else? Because even though we temporarily store these transactions, they are processed somewhere. So if, for example, you're fine processing in the UK when you're sitting in Finland, that's fine. If you do have an availability zone in your region, then the question is, where does the staff that manages the infrastructure need to sit? Do they need to be local, and do we have that team in place? Or can it be operated, for example, from our UK team or something? So that's what we'll ask. For any particular country. So just come and talk to us if you're interested. And with that, we'll let Regilo bring down the house with his demo. No pressure.
Yeah, no pressure. As everything that happened live, I'm expecting that is going to have some problems, but you might be lucky and get the perfect smooth presentation. Great. Perfect. So as Mark was mentioning, we usually deploy 3 environments: dev, test, prod. This is a completely separate VPC. They don't talk to each other. The environment's completely locked down, so nobody can really have access to any of our information, any of your code. Security is our main concern and is going to be always our main concern. I think that some of you are going to be asking, it's like, wow, what about upgrades, security patches? We are going to be taking care of that. We usually do once a week security patch for OS. Security patch that come from InterSystems when it's available, we are going to do that. And of course that we are going to make a notification if it requires any downtime. We're trying to do everything to be at least 999% of availability. And if something really critical happen, we basically are going to deploy that, fix that patch in 24 hours. But before we really jump into the Health Connect Cloud, I want to talk to something that Mark already mentioned. That was the Network Connect. We understand that we live in a transition period now. It's not all the environments that are going to be in the cloud. You're going to have you're going to have some systems that's going to be on-prem, some that is going to be in the cloud, and you needed to make this communication. And might be not just one site. You might have 20, 50, 100 sites that you want to make communication, and you need to have a secure way to make this message, this information to flow. And we do that with a VPN that is going to be centralized. And who work here in network and know how long it takes for creating a VPN connection? Yeah, I imagine that you know. But just to have that conversation between the network administrators and trying to see security takes about 1 to 2 weeks. And so you can imagine that in 3 weeks, you can establish a VPN. That's unacceptable for cloud. So we build these two to make sure that when you needed to connect a new system, you needed to connect a new site, you can do that in less than 20 minutes. We have seen some customers doing it in 10 minutes. Very simple. So I'm going to show here how you would deploy that. You just have a click button. Oh, I want to get a Health Connect Cloud. You create your ACN here, click continue, select what cloud provider that is going to be, which region that is going to be, and I'm going to deploy in the East Coast because I like there, I live there. So, and I give a name. So, and continue, and click create. That's everything that I need to do. It's not going to create because I already have one and is limited one network connect. So you don't have a mixed matching of VPNs. But I already have the deployed here. So I'm going to show how that looks like. So you deploy that environment and now you have to configure. In our case here, as I already mentioned, we have several VPCs. And I already linked to our dev environment. I want to link that to my test environment. So I have test and prod available here. I just say, any VPN that connects now to my tenant is going to be able to access my dev and test. I believe that everybody wants to connect all of them, but you have the option of connecting or not any network that you have. And if you want to create a VPN, because now you have all the cloud environments connected, you needed to connect the external environments. And you just click here, tell what is the name of the connection that you want, what's the IP address for your device, and what's the dynamic BGP that you have. It's just that you need. I'm not going to click here because it takes about 7 minutes to make that connection. I already have something here. And of course that you needed to make the configuration on the side. We already give you here, just if you click the button, you can tell what the vendor that you have, what platform that is going to be, what version that is going to be, and what the version that select, and then you can download a script that you basically run your environment and you have everything set it up. So takes, if you're really interested in dedicating that, probably 10 to 15 minutes you can establish a new VPN. So reduce a lot of the time for creating a new connection. But okay, that was not what you came here for. Connectivity is very important, but you're more interested in the interoperability part. So I'm going back to my environment. I already configured the dev and task, so it doesn't much exciting. And please interrupt me anytime that you want. So what I'm going to have here on the first page when you click on an environment, basically an overview what is going to be. I should mention that the creation of a deployment is as simple as the network connect. If you don't believe me, it's just a click of a button, select here that you have a Connect Cloud, select what size that you want. So I'm going to not break the bank of a Todd that is paying for this bill. I want to create a high availability. In UK, we have some message bank. Here in US, we are not going to have a message bank. We say what network that I'm going to deploy this. So, and this is just because when you create a VPN, you don't want to conflict with anything. And you should be all set. Select again what cloud provider that you want, what region that you want to do. And we are supporting today 5 regions, 2 here in US, Frankfurt, London, and Paris. Take about a day or 2 to add a new region. So if you want to have a new region, let us know. And I have a Regilo deployment here. Done, I agree with everything. Create, then 6 minutes late, you have a new deployment available for you. Not going to wait for the 6 minutes. Let's go back to what I was about to discuss. So we have a review. This environment is not mirrored. There is a deployment ID, what size of this environment is, what InterSystems version is. I know that that is going to be important because you want to know if that environment has all the security fixes, all the features that you want. So you know that we are using that release there. And we are going to probably in a few weeks have the 2022.2. We keep very up to date. You're going to ask me, okay, but it takes me 6 months to test my interfaces. Not with us. We are trying to automate all the tasks of the interfaces. So when you click the button to approve that that environment is going to be upgraded, you're going to get a list of the things that need to be changed in the interface. You changed, confirm, everything is upgraded. So no long path for making upgrades anymore. And I know that you really like that process of clicking one by one and checking if everything is okay. And then, yeah, now tomorrow I go again and take on. But anyway, we have how to create new users here as well. So you want to give access to some people to have Iris access, not for this environment, but they are going to be specific for Iris. So very simple. You can create a user, give it the username, and that's should be sufficient for him to get access to that. If you want to create a production, very simple. If it's mirrored, it's automatically mirrored any production that you create here. So you don't need to be worried about, oh, I need now to copy database and I'm trying to make this a high availability. You have everything ready. So click here, takes about 5 seconds. You're going to see that it's going to pop up here and it's going to be already running for you. So I refresh this and should be okay. So how that looks like, I need to see my system management portal. So I already have my user there. Oh, I already was logged in, so I already showed up. I want to show that has nothing here because I'm going to say about a feature that is very important and nobody really uses. So there is nothing here. Oh, this is my. So I have them. Oh no, I have already. Oh, unfortunately, already had to create that. Or let me see if I'm in the right. I opened too many tabs here. I want to make sure that I'm in the right one. So this is my prod. And I was trying to test a lot of things. So see, that's the first problem that you're going to get on the live demo. And I already have everything there. So I was going to show that, oh, great. Yeah, I have to log out. Okay, now log in again. And change to my production that I had created. Great. Now let's see if that exists there. And I'm hoping that there is nothing there because then I can show you something really cool. Yeah, there is nothing there. Oh no, it's already moved. It was too fast. So I already have my production here. But anyway, oh no, there is no production. Great. So you have nothing there. It's like
I'm getting
nothing in my sleeves. Great. But I have already something configured on my dev environment. So if I see here my dev environment, you're going to see that I have already a production.
With stuff in it.
With stuff in it. So I have things in my sleeve there. So over to my...
At least you know it's not smoke and mirrors. I think Regilo really wants to show the deploy automated from dev to prod.
I really want. The problem is that we know that it's really hard to promote code. And most of the people don't use source control and don't use pipelines. And we have a customer, our first customer, they had to make comparison of code by hand. So they open a file, open another tab, look line by line, and come on, that's really annoying. So when they saw that, well, we can do everything automated, that was really no-brainer. So we can see here that on this one, we have a beautiful production created by Alex. So ta-da, you have there. And now you didn't have anything in production. I want to make some change there. So one of the things that comes with the Health Connect Cloud is the source control. So we are going to see how that looks like. Yes. VS Code. We suggest that you're going to be using VS Code instead of our beloved Studio, mostly because you can encrypt all the communication. So I'm going to create a new item here. So I'm going to, very simple. You can see that I'm going to create a new component. And I'm sorry that I'm being boring now, going too much in the weeds, but get this. I can show you now here that, oh, I can see what the changes are. Let's say that this was something that I want to make sure that that is going to production. Oh yeah, I have these here. I don't need to open anything, already point, all highlighted, and I'm going to move that now to my environment. So I'm going to show behind the scenes what happened. Not very exciting, I know, but you now have a history of everything that happened in this environment from the moment that you deployed. So if anything broke in 2 weeks ago, you can see, okay, this change here broke my interface, and that's now my lab is not processing the messages. And you can very easily change that. And if you want to see what is going on in that pipeline, you can easily see here what's going on. Everything that happened on that pipeline, you see the messages, all the step-by-step that you had the configuration, and you should see that now on your, this is dev. This is dev, thank you. So is there a new component, and now you can see in all your environments consistency of everything that you're doing there. More importantly is that you still have the flexibility of going straight to your environment, making the change. Let's say that you have a crisis and something is going wrong, you have to make a change. You can go there, making the change, and then after you move from the crisis, make that permanent using your pipeline. I went too much in details.
No, it was beautiful.
No? Okay. Okay. So I think that it's everything that I would like to share with you. I know that I'm very passionate for this, so it's a lot of the weeds that I'm having here, but I want to see if any of you have any questions. You can ask about the scalability /elasticity.
Over here.
Is it also possible to make use of the old studio or things like terminal or that sort of tools?
The old studio you can when you have a VPN connected to that. The problem with using Studio is that you're going straight to the environment, so you're going to bypass the source control, which is going to make it more difficult for you to do upgrade later. But you can do that. The terminal we are implementing, web terminal, is not available here right now, but in a week or two, the customer that was working with us says, well, I need a terminal because I need to test my routines, so we are making that available for them. Oh,
I use Visual Studio Code, and you can use the terminal there quite nicely too as a workaround, you know. But yeah,
that's true.
Yes.
Any other questions? Yes, you can do DR. And actually you can put DR in any region that you want. So let's say that you have, where you located, where are you based? East, okay. So let's say that you have 2 availability zones in the East too. and you want to make your DR in the West Coast, here in Oregon. You can do that easily.
Well, I think
You have to
I
go
think-
to the mic. You have to go to the mic, otherwise it's not recorded.
I think your question's more about, would we offer this as just a DR service? So you have Health Connect on-prem, but you want to use this as a DR service?
Oh, I see. I didn't think about that. I'm open to think about how to do that. It's going to have some connectivity interest there, but you can come talk to me later, and we can come with some solution.
Mark, the question back to the terminal. I assume if you do get terminal access, that they're not getting access to %sys and all the management functions. They're locked into whatever namespace you're working in.
Correct.
ZF is not available.
Yeah, the only roles they have are percent interoperability and percent developer.
Yes.
Scalability.
Oh, thank you. So it's very simple to do vertical scalability. We are today making by request. It's basically for us, it's a click of a button. You can go from 2 cores to 98 cores if you want to, which is a lot. I asked Mark, I asked how many masters that can be processed. He's like, well, I can calculate that, it's too much. But we are also soon making available horizontal scalability, especially for the people that are going for consumption. So if you needed to get very peak and low, you're going to be able to spin up several Health Connect clouds and make that in parallel. Of course, that interfaces is going to be separate, but you can do that.
We need to guarantee FIFO basically still if you're
Yeah.
doing HL7. So
Yeah, so single interface can't span more than one instance.
Correct.
Can you use SOC system not at once?
Sorry, I
can
couldn't
you
hear
use SAM is the question.
Can I use what?
SAM.
SAM? We use SAM for our own monitoring as how we get all the information. So you don't need to worry about operations. We are going to take care of all the operations for you. And if you need, for some reason, I needed to see a report of how things working, we would be able to do the reporting for you. And if something that is going to be consistent, we are going to make available for you in the portal.
So it's sort of a product design question. Right now we have, for like managed solutions customers, we have some environments that contain PHI and some that are not allowed to contain PHI. Is the vision for this that all environments would have PHI, like dev, test, prod? It can make for big promotion problems otherwise.
I don't think that you should use PHI on your dev environment.
We don't control it though, so I mean, it's up to.
Pretty simple
Exactly.
use case for a developer to use sample messages.
Yeah.
But we are not going to be, we don't have a direct access to the environment. So you can do that. We don't recommend, but.
I mean, it depends a little. If you are having us do implementation, then, I strongly suggest we don't have PHI in dev because you wouldn't want us in there. But yeah.
And that's going to happen the most. It's like there is an implementation partner, or you're going to bring some consultant. You should have an environment that is kind of free for you to do some work. Malware protection. We have security monitoring, intrusion detection, and we are notified all the time if something happened, and we would act for you. If it's something that we feel that needed to be communicated, we are going to communicate it directly with you. Say, well, we are seeing this weird behavior here, and we are taking care of that. That answer your question? Okay. So what do you mean then? So you're going to see different behaviors when they have the malware or a ransomware on that. So we expect to detect that prior to having any problem. let's say that had some implication that was too far for us to recover that. We are going to kill that, create another environment, and make that available for you. But I haven't seen any possibility, unless you are trying to do that during your network because nobody else has that, and we have keep track of everything, then would be a little bit more challenge. Of course, that when I say you, is not you person, your network, you have something affecting that, and you left the ports open, but outside you wouldn't be able to do that. It's completely closed. Any other question?
We're going to be here for a bit afterwards too, so if there's more discussion we want to have, we can do that.
Usually I know it talks primarily about AWS, and I saw Google Cloud as one of the options on one of the screens. Is Microsoft Azure on the roadmap?
Yes, it is on the roadmap. We, as you probably heard before, we are cloud agnostic. So we are going to make available our services in all major cloud providers and possibly some small cloud providers as well. AWS was the first step, was the perfect fit for us because we already have a partnership with them. They are very close to us. So made sense for us to start that. But Azure probably is coming beginning of next year.
We actually, we don't have a Health Connect Cloud customer in Azure right now, but we do have HealthShare and Iris customers in Azure that we're managing. So we already have the capability. You know, it's just not like plugged into the cloud portal or anything.
And same thing for Google Cloud, and then we, in the Asia Pacific, we have other cloud providers as well. But for this specific service, then would come next year. Thank you for. Any other questions?
Well, we have 2 more slides, so let's finish those
Okay.
and then we can. We were so enticed by all the questions. But so basically, this is kind of the vision, right? Anything that you see in black right now is our services that we have available in the cloud right now. And the idea is kind of plug and play or compose them together, which is what you heard a lot about that in this morning's keynotes too. But for example, one of the more popular use cases for Health Connect Cloud is then people want to store the data into a Fire server. You know, so you could add that on as a pretty simple option. And those compose pretty nicely. We have a couple others that I think are going to be covered during the week in other sessions. We also have and I'm going to plug this here a little bit. It's still in gray, but there's a health data anonymizer that we've been working on. So if you wanted to anonymize the traffic that's going through Health Connect, push it somewhere else for research, for testing, for whatever the use case may be for analytics, you know, this takes structured clinical data and anonymizes or pseudonymizes it according to HIPAA safe harbor rules, but we also have like hooks where you can customize or adapt it to work with whatever your regional regulations are. This is an early access program right now. So if you have the Cvent app for the event, you can sign up there if you're interested to test this out. Francois is actually in the back, and he you know, knows this thing in detail if you have questions about that. So in summary, we're really going towards something where in the cloud we can compose these more digestible services together and kind of have a a la carte menu where you can select and pick and choose and not buy like one monolith. You saw Patient Index deployed into the cloud this morning, right? So that would be another piece you can plug on. But that's really the vision of where we're going as a company. And that'll certainly also translate to whatever you can do on-premise going forward in the future, whether that's Kubernetes on-premise or more microservices that you can kind of have in a digestible format. Like the two are equal to us in terms of on-prem and cloud. We'll just take advantage of the technologies that are available in each. Now I think we have a couple minutes for further questions, but we do have other sessions that go into more details on some of these. So there's the cloud services overview. Are you doing that?
I don't know.
I think Regilo is doing the cloud services overview. But that's on the agenda. And then we have a What is Health Connect Cloud online learning course that you can take. That's kind of an introductory, walks you through the portal and everything, because that's kind of the piece that's new if you're already familiar with Health Connect. And then obviously we have tons of materials on Health Connect and interface implementation itself. So these slides will be available after the event as well. Actually, I think they're in the app too. So if you wanted to go and visit any of these courses now, then you could. And we'll be here for a bit to answer other questions if you don't have anything that you want to share with the group. Thank you.